right. So now we have a pretty basic understanding now about how to burn fat, how to build muscle on our body, but how do we know if we're actually doing it? So there are a couple. Exactly. we can think that we're doing it, but we're not really going to know unless we kind of measure and monitor any sort of progress that we have on our body. So there's a couple ways to do that. The very basic one could be just how your clothes fit on your body. Generally, if we are losing fat off of our body, we are probably also losing inches around our waistline, around our thighs, in these areas that tend to hold a little bit more body fat on them. And so your clothes might start to fit a little bit looser on you. Alternatively, if you are building up muscle in some of these areas, like in your glutes, because that's a huge one for people to want to target and build up rounder glutes, you might see that the seat of your pants might be a little snugger.
I love it. I am a proponent of tape measure, of the measuring. So you use a fabric tape and you wrap it around the different parts of your body. Usually you do biceps and triceps. So around your arms, and then you do around your waistline, around your hips, and then typically something around your thigh, depending on which area you're kind of hoping to see some fat loss in. This one is key for me. So when I'm working with clients, depending on their level of comfort with it, I think that it's a great way for you to monitor your progress, because you literally can see the difference in the size of your body. So even if your shirts, like maybe you're a person that has extra fat on your body and you tend to wear clothes that are looser fitting so that you're more confident in public, that kind of stuff. So it might be a little bit harder to tell when your clothes are fitting a little bit more loosely or a little bit more tightly. So using that measuring tape to literally track. I don't encourage it for you to use it all the time, but I would say like once, maybe every 2 weeks or once a month, something like that, to track your progress a little bit. It's a great way to keep track of that.
Yeah.
It's super encouraging too. It's something that's actually, you can do it like before a workout and then after a workout, because they talk about you being like swole afterwards, and it's literally like in your body, like you can feel that happen. It's a good feeling, and it's cool to be able to see it too.
Side note on that, I saw an amazing quote the other day about someone who is getting back to the gym and becoming a little bit more confident in her body, and she posted this picture of her in her sports bra after her workout, looking amazing, and she said, "Today I was finally confident enough to take off the pump cover."
Oh, I love that. Wow.
But I was just like, I've never heard a shirt be referred to as a pump cover before. That's amazing.
But for real, that's so awesome. Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
One thing I will say about tracking progress is that I do not encourage people to use the scale. There's two real things. So a scale, I don't encourage, and I don't encourage BMI. Neither of those things are going to give you a really accurate, like a scale is measuring your relationship to gravity on the planet, and like fat weighs less than muscle based on density, that kind of stuff. And like, it's too much of a variable of factors that can affect it. And so I don't encourage it. And then BMI, there is so much research disproving the validity of the BMI. And so I don't encourage people to use that either.
I've been overweight with BMI for years. I don't look super overweight. None of my doctors have ever told me that I need to lose weight or anything like that. But whenever I would get my after visit summary, it would have that little comment section that says my weight, my heart rate, my blood pressure, etc. And it would have my BMI on there, and it would say that I'm overweight, and it would then say in there that you should look at losing weight. Well, my doctor didn't tell me I needed to lose weight. Like,
no, mine was the same thing. I remember when I was pregnant with my first child, I went in for my OBGYN appointments, so my natural appointments that were happening. And I remember that after visit summary coming back, and it was detrimental. I was 23, and it was detrimental to my self-esteem because it said that I was obese. I was not just said it on there, but it said that I was being, quote, treated for obesity alongside my pregnancy. And especially if you are working on building muscle in your body, like you are going to be heavier. That's something that I've just become comfortable with, is the fact that I am heavy, quote unquote, but it can be really detrimental to your self-esteem to see that number and see yourself defined as overweight or obese, and that you're being treated for that. That's a painful thing. And so honestly, I just ignore that 99% of the time. Like, unless there's a really valid reason to use that as a metric, I don't.
Yeah, agreed. That one, it needs to be retired.
Yep, that's one of the things that I would do away with in doctors' offices if I had some way of levying that. Like, I would get rid of that. Please do not ever bring that up to a person again, especially a pregnant woman. Like she has an option. They literally discourage you from losing any weight as a pregnant person. And so to have that on there is just horrifying.
Kind of the last good way of tracking some of this progress might be like an actual body composition scan. So I've had this done before in the past. It's so cool. So it's called a DECA scan, DECA. You can get them at different sports medicine type places will offer them. I did it because the company was working with a CrossFit gym and they were doing it with cool. their as part of their challenge that they were doing, but they opened it up to the public as well for people who weren't involved in it. So I got in there. So what it is you go in and you do weigh yourself. They tell you to wear really light clothing, no metal, and you go in and you get weighed, and then you lay down. This magnetic thing goes over you and scans you from head to toe, but it will tell you at the end, and show you, these are your areas of fat, and these are your areas of, this is what it looks like when you get it back.
That's so cool.
The red part is my body fat. The white is obviously my bones. And then the green part is like my lean tissue. So you can see on it where at the time I had stored most of my body fat, which makes sense because I'm a woman, and a woman tends to store it in their extremities a lot more than in their core.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah,
that's so
and
cool.
It's one of the most accurate ways to actually see what you've got going on.
Interesting.
I think that the main reason though too to work with that dietitian when you're trying to do fat loss is to make sure you're getting proper nutrition that's actually healthy for you, because it's one thing to say you need to take in less calories than you're burning, but it's another thing to say you need to take in less calories than you're burning, and it needs to come from calories you can use and calories that are going to be beneficial to you, and not just taking in 1,200 calories worth of donuts.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I try to think of your body, your bloodstream is like an ongoing river, that there's fish happening, there's bacteria, there's algae, there's all sorts of things that are happening all the time in a river, in an ecosystem. And if you are not taking care of one portion of that, so say I don't know anything about rivers really, except for the basics of what an ecosystem does. So please excuse me. But imagine that there's one type of fish that's in there that is the prey of another type of fish. And so then this predator comes in and it eats and it eats and it eats. And all of a sudden this type of fish is so low that then this fish has nothing to eat anymore. And so then this fish starts to die off. And as soon as that happens, then this other one comes in and takes over. And so thinking of our bloodstream as being similar to that, there's different nutrients, there's different all sorts of things that your body takes apart all these different nutrients and tries to rebuild it in different ways. And it will borrow from other areas if it has to. But eventually you're going to run out of that nutrient in that area if you're not feeding your body well. So that's why there's a lot of supplements and all that kind of stuff that people get into. But really, if you're eating proper nutrition, protein, carbohydrates, fat, and eating the rainbow, so eating all your vegetables, that's something that should naturally be able to happen in your body. But it's super, super important that you are making sure all those nutrients are in there.